Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are watching. Leonard Parker here again. In this segment of our SEO lesson, I'm really going to go into detail about on-page and technical SEO. And even though I've split these last few sections into separate videos, the Google My Business, the business listings and citations, and the on-page and technical SEO, actually, in the actual execution of a campaign, we would typically do these all together. And it's usually going to be some of the first things that we look at when starting a new SEO campaign. Now, on-page and technical SEO is very important to understand priorities. And really that goes to two things. First, prioritizing those pages that are really going to be driving traffic and leads to your restoration company. The second thing is really understanding which on-page and technical issues are really going to move the needle. Because things like meta descriptions, which I'll get into in a future video, you're going to find that there may be issues, but they don't have a direct impact on your SEO. There are going to be other things that maybe aren't as important, but in this video, I'll highlight those areas that are important and are worth your time to investigate and resolve if there are any issues. Now, what is on-page SEO? So it's pretty much the practice of changing different elements on your actual website with the content to make it better optimized to show up in the search results. So this can include everything from your title tags, your headings, addressing the links on your website. It can comprise different things, which I'll get into here in a minute. Technical SEO, on the other hand, in a nutshell, it's doing anything that will help Google review, or the SEO word for it, crawl your website more efficiently. So that can mean, fixing broken links, or even looking at some of the areas I've already gone over as far as improving a website speed and just making your website easier to crawl. And pretty much, I'll give you a quick lesson here. The way this works, let's say you launch your website today. In order for it to start showing up in Google's bots, or the crawlers, they call them spiders, they'll actually have to crawl your website and index each page on your website. And so that may take some time depending on, if you set up your website in Google Search Console, if you've, done all of the, best practices for your SEO, that can take time. However, it's very important that you get your website crawled and indexed as quickly as possible, because that's the first step on getting traffic and getting, improved rankings on your website. Now, let's say you have a website and you've had one for some time now, and you might already have some on-page and technical SEO issues. Well, in this case, I like to use a tool called Screaming Frog. I've already gone over Google Search Console, so if you don't have that set up on your website, highly recommended that you get it set up. But Screaming Frog is my go-to. It's a free tool, and you can crawl up to 500 pages on your site for free. And really what you're looking for here are broken links. So specifically for 400 errors and 500 errors, missing page titles, missing or duplicate heading 1 tags, and missing heading 2 tags. And then the JSON LD schema, that's more of an advanced topic, which I'll get into a bit here in the next slide. But first, I'll do a quick demonstration of Screaming Frog. Okay. So let's just see, let's use a different city. Let's do Los Angeles. Water damage restoration. So someone in LA is going to get a real quick free site audit. And let's go to a website that's on the second page. Let's just wait for Screaming Frog to do its thing and to load. Looks like we have 2 here open. Let's close one of these. While that's loading, maybe I can just do a quick look at Google Search Console if you're not familiar with it. Okay, so you just click into Google Search Console. And if you already have it installed, you'll just go up here to this little sandwich icon. But if you don't have it installed, Screaming Frog's kind of in the way right now, you would just set it up here. There's going to be a prompt where you can actually put in your website and it'll allow you to set up your site with Google Search Console. Let's say you already have it installed. So we'll just look at one of my test websites here. Here we go. Okay. So this is just one of the test websites I use to test out different things, different strategies. That's why it took so long. There's two of them trying to open. Okay. So a few things that you want to look at here. First is your coverage. So basically it's going to tell you if there are any coverage errors. So you see here there's one error. So just open a report. So it looks like there's some type of redirect error. So I'm not even sure what that page is, but we'll just make sure that that's something that you fix. And really what I like to use Google Search Console for is kind of like a dashboard utility where, if I just want a quick glance of the health of my website, this provides a lot of different things for me to check out here. So going back to the overview tab, enhancements. So you're really just looking at kind of glancing through to see if there are any errors. Security and manual actions. So if your site is penalized, sometimes Google will actually tell you it's penalized. So, even though this is a test website, you never want to see those penalties. Any security issues are also really important. So no security issues. Let's see here. Anything else? Speed. So it doesn't look like there's enough data for this website. Sitemaps, very important. So no sitemaps. So we actually need to submit a sitemap. So make sure when you're setting up Google Search Console, that's something that you submit. That's pretty much it with Google Search Console. So if you don't see any errors, that's a good thing. Now going into Screaming Frog, it's a little bit more detailed. So we're going to use our example from the LA area. So why don't we do Resto Clean LA. So Screaming Frog, so a lot going on here, but it's pretty easy to use once you get the hang of it. So you just copy and paste your URL here, hit start. It's going to take some time to crawl. And depending on how many pages there are on your website, that's pretty much how long it's going to take. So that was pretty quick. So going back to our presentation here, a few things that we're looking out for. First, broken links. They can be a real deal breaker with your on-page SEO. So to find your broken links, you have a few options here. So probably the easiest way, there's going to be a right-hand menu here. So just scroll and you're going to get to a section called response codes. And then from there, you'll see client errors and server errors. So it looks like they have two client errors. And these may or may not be important pages, but definitely something to start investigating. Server errors, they don't have anything on a server side, so that's good. So I would take a look at those 400 errors. I'll save JSON LD schema for last. Missing page titles. So remember in one of our previous videos, we talked about page titles. So basically that's anything that's here in the top. So this is a Google Sheet, but the page title, the title tag is Master Planning Sheet. And so let's just take a quick look, see if there are any missing page title issues. So missing. So no issues there, but that's pretty much where you would go, page titles, and then filter out for missing. So good news there. Missing or duplicate heading 1 tags. So you just go to the H1 tab. Missing. So no issues there. Duplicate. No issues there. So that's good. And then finally, missing heading 2 tags. So go to the H2 tab. Go to missing. No issues there. So it looks like there's been some really good on-page SEO for this website, so there weren't many issues. Now, as I said, I'll say the schema implementation for last. So schema, pretty much it's a very technical topic, but in a nutshell, it's adding more information to your website that provides Google more context about your business. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like here in a minute. So in order to check a website for schema here, first you would go to internal. Actually, structured data would be the better way to go. And you'll see here, these are all the pages on the site. So structured data details. So it actually doesn't look like they have any schema on the site, because you'll see here there's a column that says total types and it's 0 across the board. So in that case, what I would recommend for this website owner, this business owner, kind of to take a next step with their on-page and technical SEO, is to add some schema to the site. And there, for a damage restoration company, there are certain types of schema that would be the most appropriate. So the first is website schema. So that's usually if you're building your website in WordPress or any of the other popular platforms, that's pretty much going to be built into your theme. Organization schema, this should be added to your homepage. And this really is kind of like a branding schema to add more branding context to your business website. Local business schema. So this is going to pretty much tell Google that you're a local business targeting a certain area, and you need to add that to your location pages. So going back to this example, pretty much you would probably have a different local business schema type for each of these pages, because it's pretty much a page for each location that they target. Person schema. So this may vary depending on your business and your goals. Let's say you're the owner of the business, or one of the owners or leadership. They're really prominent in a local community. Maybe they're an influencer. It might be a good idea to add that person schema to show that that person is affiliated with your restoration company. That's the only time I would think it would be a good idea to use it. If that's not the case, then I would just skip it. There's also a schema for video. So if you're using video on your website, make sure you mark it up with a video schema. So I already show you how you can find a schema or what schema is being used in Screaming Frog, but there's also a tool from Google called the Google Structured Data Testing Tool. So I'll just grab one of these URLs here. So let's do LA. Then you can just Google for Google Structured Data Testing Tool. So it should be the first result. So you just want to go to, let's just wait for it to load. Yeah, so just enter your URL, run test. So that'll take a little while to load. So they actually do have the local business schema type here. So what I was getting at earlier is that this is how the Google crawler reviews your website. So schema, you'll see that there's some code here. It basically adds a little bit more context to, looks like Glendale, and provides some different information that's important for the Google bot to pick up. And basically, the schema doesn't have any direct impact on your rankings, but anytime you can provide more information, more context about your business, there's always some indirect benefits for that. So I'll make sure to share a link to this tool, but that's how you check your website first, JSON LD schema. Now, I know we got a little bit technical in this video, and if you are lost or just not sure how to implement some of these ideas, feel free to give us a call for a free consultation. As we did in this video, I'll run your site through Screaming Frog, and we'll see if there are any errors that you need to clean up. Now, if you're not sure how to fix those errors, I will make an offer towards the end of that call where we can work together to get those things cleaned up for you. Other than that, thank you for watching the video. In the next segment, we're going to go over backlinks, which is probably once you get through with the basics of on-page technical, Google My Business, and so on, backlinks are also a very important part of SEO, and we'll go over that next. Thanks.